My hair is crazy. I'm just gonna take that out of frame. Just gonna take that out of frame. I'm gonna take it right out of frame. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the American Ring. We're talking about the American Ring. We've got Ring and the Ring 2. We've talked about rings on the podcast before. You can just go over to YouTube, type in rings. That'll come up. That podcast will come up. Me and Charlie talk about rings. You can definitely go check out that one. We really roast the Johnny Galecki movie called Rings. If you want to go check that one out. Anyway, The Ring, the first one. Boy, Gore Verbinski. They really just let him go at it, because much like The Grudge, it is almost identical to the Japanese movie. They didn't let the original director direct this one. They let him direct The Ring 2, which didn't work out so good, in my opinion. But Gore Verbinski, we're a fan of him on the show. At least I am. The Cure for Wellness, Rango, right? That's what that fucking Johnny Depp lizard movie's called. Ringo Starr. So this one starts off, with the teenagers talking about how there's a videotape that in 7 days, if you watch the tape, in 7 days you die. This is some real classic stuff. This is some classic Ringu stuff. Once the girls are killed or institutionalized, we move on to our main character, played by Naomi Watts. Rachel, everybody. And don't worry, if you forget her name, you're gonna hear it 10,000 times, because the little boy doesn't call her mom. He calls her Rachel. Yes, that's right. Rachel. Rachel is the aunt of the girl that died in the cold open, and her mother's like, "You're a reporter?" Because in these movies, in these J-horror movies, it always has to be a reporter or a doctor. You're either a reporter or you're a doctor in these things. Rachel starts investigating the death of her niece, and she finds some photos of these 4 kids that went to this cabin, and there you got like the picture with the blurry faces. The blurry face special effect, that always gets me. That's always pretty spooky when I see that. That is always pretty spooky. She realizes that all 4 of them die on the same day, and she's like, something's very suspicious about this. Something very, very suspicious about this. And that leads her to the very cabin where they saw the tape, and they got the phone call that they were gonna die in 7 days. And oh boy, is this like the original Ring. Like, it is almost shot for shot as the original Ring, except for Gore Verbinski has a very good eye for like muted color palettes and just design. I guess he had a good DP on this, because the cinematography is truly beautiful in this movie. It is a much better looking, maybe due to budgetary things, but it is a much better looking than the Japanese Ring movie. Is it better? I don't know. It's about as good. Maybe I think this one actually might be slightly scarier, in my opinion. When she actually watches the Ring tape, the visuals on that, even the visuals on that are much scarier than the Japanese version, I think. There's like certainly a lot more thought went into the lore of this one. It feels like, and they didn't want to go quite as supernatural with it, I guess. There's less about psychic powers in this one. It is simply just like some sort of weird curse from a mysterious girl, and I like it when it is a little bit less obvious in horror movies. I don't need to be told every detail about it, and I definitely don't need it to be explained away by psychic powers. That is for sure. So she finds the tape, she gets the call, she's like, oh shit, am I gonna die? So she calls in none other than her ex-boyfriend and father to Aiden, the little boy that calls her Rachel. He watches it. He's not so nervous. To be honest, he's not really that nervous about it. He ends up helping her find where the island on the tape is. She goes there, and this is honestly when it like really picks up, because this movie's pretty nerve-wracking for a lot of the time, but once you get to our boy Brian Cox as the father of Samara, boy, do I love seeing Brian Cox just monologue. He's a scary man. He's a scary, scary man. So there's also like a weird point where she's on a ferry over to the island, and like a horse jumps out of its carrying thing its carrying trailer and just jumps the fuck off the ferry, and it's just like drowning. You're like, oh, why do I have to see a horse drowning? Why do I have to see this? I just started watching Game of Thrones, and boy, do they kill a lot of horses in that show. Really kill a lot of horses in there. Once she's on this island, she tries to investigate the Brian Cox character. He is claiming there is no such daughter and no such wife. She eventually finds a doctor who explains, yeah, there was a Samara. There was a Samara. She's called Samara in this and not Keiko. She's like, yeah, I think they took her to an asylum. I think they took her to like an institution, and she's probably still there. So she breaks into Brian Cox's house because she's like, there's something going on in this house. I don't really trust him. I don't think the girl's gone. I don't know where she is. Why is he denying it? She finds some tapes about Samara and how she has like powers to like etch things, etch images and stuff. And she clearly does have some sort of power. And truly, the scariest scene in this movie has nothing to do with Samara at all. It is the death of Brian Cox, which is like, I've watched this movie a few times before, and this is something that always sticks in his mind as he does the old electricity bathtub trick, and it is truly shocking. It is truly fucked up and hard to look at. It's a scary movie. Much like the original Ring movie, she finds the well, figures out that Samara's in there, and thinks that by releasing her spirit, there will no longer be a curse, and that won't matter. And that is certainly not the case, as we know. You can copy that floppy, but you can't get rid of the curse. And this leads us to certainly the most iconic scene from The Ring, is Samara crawling out of the TV. And now this, I've always thought, looks a little goofy, just because she is in like the black and white TV. She still looks like she's on TV, and she's kind of like juddering around. It's spooky, but that's not real enough for me to actually be scared of it. I'm more scared of a man fucking electrocuting himself in a bathtub, because that's something that could actually happen. I like that this movie kind of ends on an unhappy note, and at this point, this is about as good as you can get from this genre of this era of horror movie. You do have to have like a final girl, I guess, Naomi Watts and Aiden, but you do lose someone in the mix. At least someone has to pay for the crimes of that, and that is the ex-boyfriend Noah, which I think it all works out pretty good. I like this one as a whole. I think it's a nice tight script. It's really cleaned up from the Japanese version. It's a great looking movie, spectacular looking movie. I think Gore Verbinski did a great job on this film, and this is a movie that scars people to this day, especially if you saw it when it came out. So I'm gonna have to give The Ring 4 stars. That's a fun one. I like that one a lot. The Ring 2, however, The Ring 2. Now, The Ring 2, this I consider a genuinely bad movie. This movie isn't good. I don't like this one. There's too much fucking terrible CGI in it. Nothing about it's scary. It's just like, this one is a waste of time, in my opinion. Much like Rings, I don't care for the sequels to the American Rings. I much prefer the Japanese Ring sequels, because those, like I said in the episode, they were different from each other. They expanded on the lore. One took place in the 70s. One was like a sci-fi thriller. They were different. This one just feels like you're reiterating the same shit and doing it worse. That's what this one feels like. You've got the cold open with the dude trying to make his date watch the tape, and dubiously she's like, no, I covered my eyes, I didn't see it, and he dies anyway. I get your intention. You're trying to express that the copying of the tape has continued since the previous one. We have Rachel, she's back, Aiden's back. They're now living in Seattle. Her coworker is that dude from The Mentalist, and now he's taken the place of Noah, essentially, in this movie. But like I said, it's nearly the same thing again. It's almost exactly the same thing again. She decides that she's heard of some deaths of some kids, and she's like, oh no, the tape is back. I can't believe it's back. Tries to investigate, looks for it, figures out that not only is it back, but Aiden is possessed by Samara. Oh shit, how did this happen? We got rid of it. We got rid of it in the first one, and now it's back. We don't know what to do now. This one has the craziest scene in almost any movie I've ever seen, when they're just driving in a car and then a bunch of CGI deer start attacking the vehicle. What? That's the scariest thing in this movie is how bad the CGI looks on those deers. They're like these shiny ass PS1 deers. It's like, what? Why would you even put this in here? This is like a crazy thing to even put in here because it looks so bad. It looks so bad. There are a couple cool scenes in this. Eventually, the Samara has taken over Aiden's body and he doesn't want to go into the bathtub because that reminds her of the well. Rachel enters the bathroom. The water is all on the ceiling. That's just kind of a cool visual. Again, it looks like shit because it's CGI, like fucking 2005 CGI or whatever. But it's just like kind of a cool visual. That is what this movie is lacking. It lacks the Gore Verbinski touch. Nothing really seems that cool or stylized. It just seems like a shitty sequel to could be any horror movie, to be honest. It's just like, it's barely scary. It's one of those barely scary movies. Eventually, Child Protective Services catches on that Aiden is covered in Samara bruises and she thinks it's Rachel. So Aiden, for some reason, gets pulled into like this doctor thing under surveillance and then immediately just kills the doctor and escapes. And then it's all good? What do you mean it's all good? Why did you spend 25 minutes on this? He just escapes and nothing fucking happens. Nothing happens at all. Max is like, you're not supposed to be out of the hospital. He's like, I don't give a shit. I'm out of the hospital now. Fuck it. And then you've got Rachel going back to the island. She's investigating the house again. Finds like some information about Samara's mom. She's in an asylum. Everybody's in a fucking asylum. I'm like so tired of going to asylums for plot points. I was just like, all right, let's see what she has to say. And then it's fucking nothing of value. Nothing really of value. She's like, you gotta listen to her. Listen to what she says. Yeah? Okay. Great. So after that, she comes back home and there's Aiden. It's actually Samara. Back from the hospital. No issues. Just there. Immediately she tries to drown him and then all of a sudden the ghost of Samara floats out of his body. Like, I was watching this movie like, what the fuck is happening? Why is it all just like weird bullshit all the time? Why can't it just be like a scary videotape movie, man? Why can't it just be a scary videotape movie? And at this point, she's like, I've been through so much. As Naomi Watts, she's like, I've been through so much. And all Samara wants is a mother. Samara wants a mother. So when she tries to climb out of the TV, she's like, no, not this time, you little bitch. Not this time. She dives through the TV into the well, and she's like, oh, the well's not closed. What do you mean the well's not closed? It doesn't even make sense that it has a lid. It's a well. And she climbs on out of the well, closes the well, jumps off a cliff, just like the mother in the Ring tape video. And that's it. Back to all good. And she's like, definitely Samara's gone this time. No reason that she wouldn't come back like she did in the last one when we thought for sure, definitely she's gone. It's just like, so, this one's lazy as fuck, dude. This one's so lazy. It's a retread of the first one, but worse. This one, they brought back the original director of the Ring movies, Hideo Nakata. But, like, it's like he tried to be like, you let Gore Verbinski fuck this up. I'm going to show you how to really do it. And that made a worse version of that movie! Ugh. It just drives me crazy when I have to watch the same goddamn thing so many times. Why do I have to watch the same goddamn thing so many times? Just make a new movie, make it about something new, make it about something new. All right, The Ring 2, you get 2 stars, 1 for each of your names. The Ring 2. All right, that's it for this episode. Thank you for checking out the 31 Days of Horror. The horror doesn't stop. It keeps on going. It keeps on going every day for this month. Come on, check back some of it. You don't have to watch all of it. I don't expect you to watch all of it, but hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any, just in case you're interested in it. Leave a comment below if you have anything to say about The Ring 1 or 2. I'll even field questions about rings if you got those, because unfortunately that shitty movie has burned into my brain forever. Please also follow me on social media at Movie Epidemic on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And that's all I've got for today. See you guys. Bye.
Why don't you play us something, baby? Why don't you play us something? Why don't you play us something, baby?
Start? I don't feel so good.